All right, Andrew Tate is launching the real world token, his official token, his first official token. I'm going to show you why I think it's going to hit over $1 billion market cap, while Andrew Tate will personally be holding $1 billion of his own crypto coin, which I think he'll basically be able to conjure out of thin air. And I'm going to tell you how you can get a piece of the pie and how I think the top student, if you can farm this crypto airdrop properly, he'll be rewarding his top student with over 7 figures. Not over 7 figures, 7 figures, over $1 million of crypto. I'm going to show you my reasoning behind that. And weirdly enough, why I've sort of flipped on this to think it's actually a really good idea for him to do it. So let's jump in. And before we do jump in real quick, I am personally staying across all the information going on with this airdrop because I think it's a huge opportunity. And I have a free list, an email list that you can get on where I'm sending those insights totally free as I come across them, so you can optimize how much you're making inside this airdrop for as little effort as possible. So the link is in the description below for that. Now, into this presentation, which I have made for all of us. Look at this. This is the $1 billion crypto scheme, TRW, the real world token. That's going to be the ticker symbol. This here symbolizes Andrew Tate, and this here symbolizes Andrew Tate plus $1 billion, which I think he's going to be, as I said, conjuring out of thin air. Let's go through the logic behind it. Andrew Tate claims he has $25 million a month coming in from university.com. That is his online education, his school. He calls it a bunch of different things, the real world, Hustlers University. But he says there's $25 billion a month coming in. And at $50 a month, that's 500,000 current students. So there's your 25 mil a month, which, quick maths for everybody out there, is $300 million a year. And at the moment, where does that go? That all goes into Andrew Tate's pocket. Pretty straightforward at the moment. That's just a normal business setup. But now we're introducing some Web3, some crypto, some blockchain. Some of you are new to this concept, and I actually think a lot of businesses are going to go this way long term, actually getting onto the blockchain and incentivizing students and aligning incentives with everybody involved in that ecosystem. We'll go through that in just a second, but he's going to have the TRW token. Now, what is the utility? What's the purpose? Why would you even launch a crypto like that? Well, in this case, he has said, the white paper's not out yet, but once it's out, I will be going through it here on the channel, so make sure you do subscribe. So he says the utility is going to be 100% of the tokens will earn 100% of the income for university.com. So at the moment, that's $300 million a year. If you owned, say, 100% of the token supply of the TRW token, you would be generating $300 million a year. That would be sent straight into your crypto wallet, hypothetically, if you owned 100% of the supply. But of course, if you own 1% of the supply, you'll be getting $3 million or 1% of that sent in. Okay, and we're about to make some assumptions, and I want to show you my rationale behind these assumptions, where I just haven't pulled these out of thin air. I've reverse engineered them from what I've studied from Andrew Tate, which is this list right here. I believe he's launching this token for these reasons, and I think he's going to check each one of these off this list. And when we know his incentives, we can find out how to align with them and maximize our allocation. So he already has burned $100 million. He put that all over Twitter. He's put that all in his interviews. I burned $140 million of cash into thin air because he doesn't value cash. He values morals and ethics. He's got the spiels going. And I think he's going to have a spiel for each one of these. He's going to want the market cap to be $1 billion. He's going to want students to be turned into millionaires for being good students. You can say this one, imagine getting paid $1 million for going to the best university on earth, university.com. A lot of people are spending hundreds of thousands of dollars for their degree. My students get paid. That's going to incentivize a bunch of people to actually sign up and double the amount of students that he has. I think he wants to hold $1 billion of crypto. I think he wants to say I'm a crypto billionaire. There's no reason why he can't if he executes this plan well, especially getting loans against it, which we'll be getting into in a second. And I think he'll be on the cutting edge of technology here too, really pushing the boundaries, doing what's borderline illegal, but not in an illegal in like a bad way, illegal in like the laws haven't caught up to this. And a lot of people aren't doing what Andrew Tate is doing instead of going public and incentivizing rich people on Wall Street, but actually going public in crypto and incentivizing your students and your community and your ecosystem to take the actions that you want them to take and rewarding them with the actual IPO event or the ICO event in this case, which is the crypto. But based on this, once again, 100% of the tokens is worth $300 million a year. He, I believe, will be splitting it something like this, where he will be allocated 80% of the tokens, because he's not just going to give away his entire revenue for no real reason. So he's going to be holding 80% of tokens, which is going to be big because they're going to be out of supply, which means the market cap's going to raise a lot quicker because 20% of tokens, I believe, will be allocated to his students and his team. And therefore, that will represent $60 million a year that he's investing in his students and his team, which means he'll be trying to get $60 million a year of value back out of it, or more than $60 million a year for this to be a worthwhile venture for him. Now, if we go on the theory that I think he wants $1 billion of crypto, and we're going to show you how we can get there in a second, that means that his 80% of the tokens will be worth $1 billion, meaning the total market cap will be at a $1.25 billion market cap, and the $60 million a year revenue will be valued at $250 million in the market cap, which is 4 times the yearly earnings, which is very feasible. If you don't think that's feasible, let me show you Helium. This is a token. It's still around out there. It's a project. This is a good tweet highlighting it. Helium's often cited as one of the best examples of Web3 use cases. It's received $365 million of investment led by A16Z. Regular folks have also been convinced to spend $250 million buying hotspot nodes, that's between all the people who've bought the hotspots, in hopes of earning passive income. The results, Helium's total revenue per month, 6.5K. 6.5K is their total revenue a month. Now, what is their market cap? Now, they do have some physical infrastructure, but if you think that Tate's in revenue per month for his whole project is $300 million a year or $25 million a month, imagine what the market cap on something doing $7,000 a month is. Wait, it's almost $2 billion fully diluted value. This is Helium around the time of this tweet here, which was mid 2022. So it's not unreasonable to think that he could have what's generating $60 million a year to be valued at $250 million. That's if we're just going on practicality. If we're going on crypto and hype, it could be valued at 10, 20, 30 times that much. So if Tate holds still $240 million a year in the income, 80% of the tokens, that goes straight into his wallet, $1 billion of TRW tokens, which he's basically conjured out of thin air, and he's given $250 million up in tokens to the actual holders who are doing the extra $60 million a year. We have to deep dive how Tate can actually make this $1 billion and get away cleanly with this, because obviously he can't sell this money. If he sold this, the whole market cap would crash, everyone would lose money, it'd be a giant scam, a Ponzi scheme, and his reputation would be very hurt. So there are 4 ways that I think Tate can maximize his gains from holding this $1 billion of TRW token, which is a buy and sell tax, inflation, loans, and incentivizing students. Let's start at the top together and go through them one by one so you can see exactly how Web3 works. This is a great example, if you're not in Web3 already, of how you can actually drive value and make money and actually have businesses in Web3, because this is, I believe, where everybody's going in the future, whether that be in 3 years or 30 years time. It's going to be insane to think it's going to be very normalized for most businesses to be processed with cryptocurrency. It just makes sense for reasons we won't go into right now because we have a lot still to get through here. Let's talk about the buy and sell tax. So this is a token called PAL. It's an AI token. I highly recommend that you don't get into. I've never been a fan of PAL, but it did hit an $800 million market cap. Its volume was $10 million at its all-time peak. That's in one day, $10 million US. And they have a buy and sell tax, meaning anything that is bought or sold as of this token, the actual company will take 5% on every transaction, just like you scan your Visa card and they take 1.25%. PAL will take 5% of all transacted tokens, which Andrew Tate could be putting into the TRW token. And PAL's actually made $36 million in those in trade volume, in taking the 5% cut on trade volume in less than a year, which would almost make up the difference for how much he's giving up in the TRW token at $60 million a year. The second way Tate could make a lot of money is inflation. Now, I'll go through this one quickly because it's quite complex, but here's the simplest view of it. Most tokens aren't fully diluted, and they will airdrop, say 20% of the supply, and then 80% of the total supply will be leaking onto the market, just like the government prints US dollars. A lot of tokens, such as WorldCoin up here, this is the one done by Sam Altman, founder of ChatGPT. You can see here is their unlock events, and July 9, July 10, July 11, you can see they're printing $6 million a day of unlocks and inflation on their project. Something that Andrew Tate could very much do with his token as well. The third way to maximize the value for Andrew Tate is loans. This is from a video that got like 3,000 views, one of my best videos. I won't even be linking it because no one's actually interested in it. And in the video, I break down exactly how Michael Saylor is essentially printing free money for himself, free Bitcoin for himself. It's very simple. Here's a publicly traded company, which he sells extra shares for. He takes the cash for those extra shares and he buys Bitcoin. The price of Bitcoin goes up, and even the Bitcoin per share goes up every time he does one of these transactions. And you can see Andrew Tate could do this, but with the real world inflation, with the real world buy and sell fees, or even just taking loans against his $1 billion. Someone could loan him $200 million. He could put that in Bitcoin. Bitcoin will eventually double, triple, quadruple, and he's going to be making a lot of money without actually having to touch that principal. And fourthly, which this is going to be the best short-term return for Tate, is he can actually he's given up $60 million a year, but he can generate way more than $60 million a year. If he gets 100,000 extra students, which he got 5,000 students in one day when he mentioned a coin that wasn't his. So you can only imagine how many students he could be signing up to replace this sort of income. It'll also lower churn, because who's going to be leaving when they know that they're going to get paid to stay around at some time in the future? So you could lower churn 20%, which churn on average is 10% per month, which would be 50,000 people leaving every single month. So if he could take that down to 40,000 or even 35,000 people leaving, well, he'll be saving millions of dollars. He can also incentivize signups, as you said. If you got a crypto token, an ecosystem, if you can say some of my students have made millions of dollars by being students, I think that he can increase signups at least 20%. And then bonus offers, which I won't go too deep into this one, but this is intriguing to me personally, because what happens in the Web3 world is once you hold, say, the TRW token, people could be airdropping you bonuses and offers and tokens and cryptos. So we could airdrop, say, across the Rubicon, that's the name of the channel here, we could create it across the Rubicon coin and drop it to everybody who earned the real world token and say, oh, we're rewarding people with that, and actually just be giving out free money. And Andrew Tate could partner with some big companies or some big projects in order to just be literally giving free money away to anyone who is holding and staking his TRW token. So that's the short version of how Tate could make a lot of money and $1 billion of crypto by actually launching this token. But of course, there's a spot for us to make a lot of money, because he's actually going to be giving away a large slice of the pie. These are all approximate figures to me. He might be able to give away 50%. He might surprise us. He might give away 5%, which would be very curious to see how it plays out. But I've got him marked in at about 20% a giveaway, which means if he's got 500,000 students, that's $500 per student on average, which is 10 months of tuition, which is a lot of money to be generating out of thin air. And there's a lot of asterisks here, because it's not actually liquid money. You can't just sell this. Everyone can't sell it and cash in on that. There's only a certain amount of liquidity, which is a little bit more advanced, but it basically means not everybody can claim this money, even though it sits there in the actual bank, so to speak, in the actual Web3. But if you have a look at this and say, okay, on average, it's probably going to be rewarded with $500 a student, but there's something called the Pareto principle, which is 20% of people are going to be rewarded with 80% of the results, meaning it's going to be closer to, I may have deleted this slide, $2,000 a student for the top end. Or if you go to the 1%, we'll get 99% of the results. I believe, once again, the top student will get $1 million of rewards, someone with a really high power level. There's two ways, we've talked about this a couple times on the channel already. There's two ways to actually get the TRW token. That's power level here, or that is staking the daddy token. And now power level apparently is way more important than actually staking the other token. I'm going to be coming out with a part 2 on this video either tomorrow or the next day, showing you exactly how you can upscale and up level and up rank the hierarchy to make sure you can be as close to this top student as possible and get as much power level, as many boosts as possible, so when this airdrop happens, you get the biggest allocation. I've already actually sent out an email, and if you do want that email, join that free email list on how you can be farming. It's called farming. You go out and you actually plant the seeds, you grow the crops, you earn the power level points that you're going to eventually cash in for TRW tokens. So if you want to see that email, make sure you sign up at the list below. And the last thing is, if you're new to this channel and haven't seen us before, we have something called an influencer wallet tracker. This, for me, is just such a no-brainer. A lot of people try to trade crypto with technical analysis, which is applying like Fibonacci sequences and crazy graphs to charts to try and see which way crypto is going. But then, say, Trump comes in and supports crypto and it skyrockets and it breaks all of the charts. or they try to do fundamental analysis. They're like, wow, helium's making $6,000 a month. It should be valued at something like 100 grand, maybe 300 grand. It's valued at $2 billion. Like, these things are broken in the Web3 world. But what's not broken, and what we've been doing here, following people like Andrew Tate and actually trying to figure out how to get ahead of his moves and how we could be making money, is we track people's wallets, the top influencers, people like Andrew Tate, Elon Musk, Kyle Chassie. We've got some deeper crypto people, and then we've got some bigger mainstream people, but we track their wallets and we track their socials, so we can see when they're trying to get into a project. Say Andrew Tate buys a new token like he bought on Sol recently, the Daddy token and the RNT token. You would be able to get the alert that he's got these tokens before he starts tweeting about them and before he launches them to the public. And we have a team of people who are literally, his full-time job is out there tracking down these influencers' wallets, because this is called social arbitrage trading, and this is by far the best way that I've ever seen to try and trade crypto. That's why we built this software, the influencer wallet tracker, so you can get alerts when people are trying to buy and sell crypto before they're promoting it to the millions of people. So the link to that is inside our inner circle. We have an awesome community of people who are supporting each other and waiting for these buy alerts to come through so we can make money in this next massive bull market in crypto.